Yeah.
What? You got enough money now.
What you do? Clean out your closet, Teddy?
They cracked me up. Yes, I did.
That's a brand new pair.
What do you want?
You got a 5 and 10 yesterday?
She was in the keys and I was in all.
Those are his failed. Those are his failed. Those are his failed. There you go. Those are his failed golfing shoes. That's his failed golfing shoes. Pick the right field on the green.
Oh, yeah. All others. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now Tony with the National Anthem, please remain standing. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we walked were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you, Tony. Excellent job. You guys are being tremendous. Very, very good, Steve. Our first selectman was going to give us a few words of wisdom about everything, I guess. What are you laughing at, Dave? He might even talk to you. Oh, Rudy's got the raffle. 18, is that all?
Wow. Buy a gallon of gas.
Somebody forgot their ticket. Please welcome Kevin Cunningham.
And thank you all very much. So what I always wanted to do is, people always ask, well, what about this and what about that? I was just speaking to the table in the back there and they were asking questions about what's going on in Plainfield and what's happening. So I would definitely open it up to anybody that has a question about what's happening, what's going on in the town of Plainfield. We're very proud of all the activities that we have going on. For those people who were able to attend last weekend, just last weekend alone, we had the fireworks up at the Shepherd Hill School. We also had a great weekend because it also included the Celebrate Plainfield Day over at the Lions Club. And I think I saw a few of you over there. Thank you, Tony, for the chorus. Very good. And then on Sunday was our VJ parade, and this was going back to our normal VJ parade. I know the year before, because of COVID, they had to have an issue with doing the reverse parade, and we actually paraded around the town via vehicles. So it was nice to see everybody again. It was nice to have it back in person, and the numbers were very, very good. So I'm very grateful for the fact that we're able to get back to somewhat of normalcy and do things like that. We wanted just to, be able to have some time just to answer questions, but I just want you to know the things that are going on in town. Just recently, like last night, there was a town meeting and we talked about the purchase of some acreage over on Cape Downing Road. That purchase of acreage allows us now to have 162 acres of what they call open space. Open space is passive recreation. You can do hiking trails, walking trails, nature trails, horse trails. We're talking about adding more things on. They were talking about adding into that facility disc golf. They were talking about adding on maybe a zip line But we're looking also for input from the public as to what we can do with that parcel. It's 162 acres. And so we want you to be very active so people can use it. So those are some of the things that just happened last night. We voted to approve purchase of. So we'll start going on with that. We're doing things like, you know that since last year and a half or so, we've added more things. I hope you've taken advantage of them. We've added back the bus line into the service. So that's another big thing we like to say, that we have access now to the entire town. That bus line service gives you all of the areas and routes that NECOG services in the Northeast, but it also ties you over to Big Y, where you can catch on a bus over there. And now go to the Southeast. If you need to get a bus, for whatever reason you just don't have a vehicle or a ride, there's an opportunity now, so it gives you that access. Those are handicap accessible buses, so if you have someone that needs it, and by the way, it's also called a deviated bus route. What that means is if you live within 3/4 of a mile off of the normal route, you give them a call and say, look, I can't get over to your bus stop, can you come pick me up? And they will do that. So it's a big help. Many other things have happened. We work in cooperation with the Board of Finance, we work in cooperation with the Board of Education. We try to put things and promote things and help you out as best we can. I think one of the questions we had from the back of the room earlier today was, well, what's going on with Amazon? And I'm sure everybody asks that question all the time.
Dog cart.
Simple answer. Yes, they're coming. You can take a look over there now. You can see that they've already broken ground. Here's the amazing part. I know when I was a kid, if they said they're going to build something that's 200,000 square foot, it would take them a couple of years. They will be up and operational as of July of next year. That's 600 jobs that are coming in. And of course, for us, for a town, it's tax revenue. And it helps us out tremendously. There's other things that are happening that you don't see or don't hear, read in the paper. They will be announced and they'll come out soon. You might have heard it already. But at the end of Cornell Road, there is a company which just got approved by the State of Connecticut Site Council to put up a solar farm. So that's in the ground, not on any buildings or any sort, a solar farm. We've been talking and negotiating with them to have what they call a hometown agreement. As you first build the building, your property taxes are up high, and as the building ages, the property taxes drop off. We did a hometown agreement to equalize for 20 years. They will give the town of Plainfield $156,000 every year for 20 years. Another one is going to go over on the old Snake Meadow Road, and that is another company out of Rhode Island doing another solar farm and gravel operations. Hometown agreement, $94,000 for 30 years, every year. There's a third one which we'll be looking to come in over on over by Plainfield Renewable Energy, and what they do is they store energy, and then when it's rainy, a week or so, they will actually put the energy back into the system, and that's a $44,000 a year for 20-year hometown agreement. So those are things that are happening and things that will help out our tax base and revenue. But I don't mind answering any questions you have about what else is happening. I heard this, I heard that. It's your community, your town, and sometimes you don't get all the information in the paper. Sometimes they just kind of skim over what's happening, and we'd like to try to fill in the blanks. So if anybody has any questions, you can always call the town hall.
Yeah, the Command Aerospace building, what's happening there? It seems like it's a standstill.
Excellent question. The issue with the Command Aerospace was that Command had sold the property to a developer, TD Development. TD had an agreement to go in upon purchase and take out materials and actually take all the materials out of there. The problem was TD Development went in, took what they wanted, and left. So it got back into the court system, and right now what the court system says is Command wanted receivership because they wanted to be able to say, look, they're not doing the right thing, we want to make sure the right thing happens. So they went to court, they won in court via receivership. That just means that when it comes to an agreement to be made to the future, they would be the ones to make that agreement. So what happened is, there's a lot of contaminants over there. Not just the chemicals in the ground, but if you think about the asbestos that are on the brick. So that has to be worked out properly. The good thing is the town has a a great group of people who wanted to come together, not just the town, but also the region, wanted to put together a nonprofit organization called Eastern Connecticut Land Bank Association. As a nonprofit, they asked for philanthropic support, you know, people giving money to donate, to actually put together a plan to take over these properties like Command, and then those monies then go to cleanup. Once the cleanup's done, there's a lot of value there. People have been asking the town, is it available and is it clean? If it's available and clean, they'll want to actually buy it right away. So the plan is Eastern Connecticut Land Bank is now a 501(c), so they're not profit. They have worked out something with Command. Command has about $3.5 million which they'd like to put back into the property for cleanup. Once that step-by-step piece goes through, that you'll see activities over there. The only activities you may have seen prior to that might have been some of the brick being taken out, which was deemed clean, and any of the monies from that go back into that $3.5 million kitty. So that's the plan. Eastern Connecticut Land Bank would love to take that over soon, and I believe they will, and they'll start working on the putting out a process for bid to have someone be contracted to do the cleanup. Unfortunately, the way it is, like everything else in life, it takes a little time. But we're getting there. And then that land bank, taking that money, will turn that over to the next project. They have a list of projects lined up. The next one is going to be in a row. So we're hopeful that this process, once it starts up, will steamroll and keep going forward. And you'll see things. Oh, by the way, the Command properties, they're trying to make sure that in the grant that they put in, they're going to go for putting keystone cleaners in there, because that's another brownfield, because of the contaminants that are there. And that way they can clean that right out. And the idea would be that the fire station has already purchased property, but they want to make sure they can get a grant so that it makes it easy for them. They don't have to pay out so much money to get it cleaned up. And once it's cleaned up, their plan is basically to level it out, move some of that, I think there's the memorial right in front of the door. They want to move that out a little centered and just make that a memorial park right there. Hope that answers your question about that.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have questions about what else is going on? Yes, sir.
The Amazon that's going into the old dog track,
Yes.
what kind of an impact will that facility have on traffic?
That's an excellent question. The question was really the traffic that impact is going to be happening with Amazon. So the state of Connecticut has a traffic division for studies. So they did their study and they decided they have a understanding of when the waves of trucks are coming in and out of the Amazon. And I can give you an idea of what's going to happen. Amazon is going to start up between 10 and 10:30. There'll be a wave of 150 vehicles, the smaller short delivery vehicles. They're going to come out of there between 10 and 10:30. The next wave of 150 comes out a little after noontime. The final wave comes in about 1:30. And there won't be 150 in the final wave. At nighttime, 18-wheelers come in after 8 o'clock and they start delivering the delivery packages in. They've already done their traffic study. The conclusion of the traffic study was there will be no impact. However, at the conclusion of the building, once they start this process of actually taking trucks out, another study will be done to see what, if any, impact it would be. And the reason why, I just had conversations, as a matter of fact, yesterday with, it was a company which is the owner of the property for the Big Y lot, and also Big Y itself, management called me. And they were talking about what impact will there be. We don't realize how much impact there is until you actually see it, but the state of Connecticut says from what they see, from the numbers of vehicles that will be traveling through, there won't be a need for a light at this point. But we'll reevaluate that when they actually start working.
Well, you covered that already, but you see, most of the town won't be bothered by what's going on at the dog track. I live on Lily Bridge Road, and I had to find an alternative way to get home, because when the dog track came out around 5:30 in the afternoon, 17 $17.30 for the military folks. The impact, you have to see this to believe everything else in that intersection stopped. You know, it's kind of like all the workers out of a shipyard or some kind of a big thing, you know. Now, there's one other company that, it's Northern Express, I think, took over the old Moskowitz building.
Western Express, yes.
Yeah. Moskowitz wanted to have an an off-ramp and an on-ramp right in front of them. Did Northern ever take a look at something like that? It would have to go through, I don't know what they're growing now, but it would have to go through that field and then up to 395. Are they lobbying?
Nope.
Or not even,
So,
is there any,
I tell you, for those who remember when the dog track came in, there was a lot of traffic going through there.
Yeah.
That's when they actually approached the state of Connecticut asking, would there be a possibility of getting a ramp just for them?
well, yeah,
Yeah, back then, I think even then, the word billion was part of the conversation.
right,
So if you can imagine back then it being, $1 billion or so for a ramp, how much it would be now. So there's no conversation in regards to the state of Connecticut side of it, having a ramp of any type, just for a particular business.
Yeah, but they,
Yeah, but they built that for the New Britain thing, that whole thing.
Yep.
And they had buses going on it.
Yep.
And there's still traffic.
Still traffic. So they're as the state of Connecticut is difficult being able to take money out of its wallet. I don't think that would happen in this case.
yeah, but the problem with the dog track issue was you only had to go to Norwich and come from Norwich.
Yep.
And when they added the other two ramps, it kind of went away because everybody headed back to Massachusetts.
Yep.
You were right, you were headed
Yeah.
the other way, yeah.
I don't think the impact here will be that much. If you take a look, if you remember when Lowe's came into business, and also when the energy plant at the same time, they thought that they did studies then, and this traffic study said we're fine. So I think we're okay, but again, once we start the operation, we see that happening, we'll ask them to take another look at it just to make sure. Another gentleman?
What's the latest status on the inter-oil project?
Well, and we just spoke briefly about that, where it ties into command. Interoil, by the way, we got 2 grants. It's an assessment study grant for $200,000 because, believe it or not, that assessment has been done multiple times. But it has to be up to date within a certain time period in order for it to be valued, so you can go out to do bidding for work to be done on it. So we're getting an assessment grant for $200,000 to take all the assessment of the chemicals that are there, how much. And so that's the idea. We went with the DECD co-chairperson for the state of Connecticut about a week and a half ago. She came to Plainfield, we talked about what we could do over there. Depending upon the types of chemicals there, how much it is over there, even if they remediate it out, technically there's, you've leached into the ground certain chemicals that just cannot be taken out and remediated out. The question is, how bad is it? If it gets to a certain point where you have you cannot put apartments there because you'd be living in an area with chemicals over it. You'd have to actually cap it. So once we get that assessment, how much chemicals and where they all are, at that point then you can evaluate what you can do on the property, whether it could be for small businesses, whether it could be a cap for a playground, things like that. So we are working on that. We just, matter of fact, at our next Board of Selectmen meeting, we'll be voting to approve the DECD allowance for us to go for that, allow me to sign off for the paperwork for the $200,000 for Intra-Oil and move forward on the next phase. So that's where we stand right now.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I see the vote today sign. What is it we are voting for?
That was yesterday. My staff is pulling the signs out as we speak. This year, what I'd like to do, for those people who've driven around town and when we have time, we vote on something on a Monday or a Tuesday. Because that's usually when we do voting. We try to have the town meetings or like the November, elections. Those usually vote Monday, vote Tuesday. So I bought a bunch of those signs. You might have seen those out there before, red, white, and blue ones. Yesterday's were because we had that meeting last night concerning the purchase of the land for open space. I'm going to buy a bunch more of those just to make sure people know to vote for today if we have things on a Wednesday or a Thursday. That's what that was. And by the way, we're trying our best to get information out to everybody. Anybody here use Nixle? Okay, we have a couple people. What Nixle is if you have your phone, you want to go onto the town website, you can actually log into the town website real quick and say, look, I'd like to be able to be given information about what's going on in town, either through the police or through the town. You know what happened yesterday with the police?
Yeah.
For the issue with the young man who had a gun? So what happens is they would tell you that there's a Nixle alert, the police report that please be wary of Central Street in downtown Plainfield. Center Street in downtown Plainfield was closed off because someone shot a gun. So you'd like to have that information on your phone, something tells you right away what's happening so you can be wary of it, or if there's a water main break somewhere, something like that. Well, Nixle we also use with the town to inform people of what's happening, such as there's a vote coming up on a town meeting and what it is. That's one way of getting out information to people. Another way is the signs. Another way is Facebook. Another way is the town website. Another way is the normal way we used to do things. We've been doing things for years. It's posted in the town clerk's office. There's bulletin boards around town which we post the meetings. We're trying to use the newspaper, the Norwich Bulletin, the Turnpike Buyer. We're thinking of any way possible to get information out to people so that A, they know what's going on with a meeting, and B, the information behind it with what's happening. So you would know that last night would have been a meeting for the purchase of the properties and what that open space means to you. Yes, sir.
What's gonna happen to that building in Moosup where the bank used to be? Built a building there and...
Oh, they're starting to build a building right now? There's looks like a two-bay garage right there?
Yeah.
Yes. That is owned by Ernie Colello. He went through planning and zoning to get that approved. He's going to use that for servicing some of his trucks. He's actually, and this relates to COVID. So it's a great question that you see the thing going up and all of a sudden it just staggers and just stays there. It's related to COVID. He ordered siding for that building that took them 3 months, maybe 4 months now, just to get the siding in. That's how crazy it is. We have a project in downtown Plainfield. You know where the Railroad Ave parking lot is? It's a municipal parking lot. Well, it's kind of dark back there. So we thought we would be able to utilize some of our monies that we had not expended from last year and go out to bid and put out there for lighting for that spot. Well, I had a contracted person to do the installation. We sent out for the actual materials, and they told us, okay, great, I'll see you in 16 weeks. That's what COVID has done to us so far, is the delays of the creation of the materials and delivery. So, and I want to say something about COVID to all of you. I mean, this group, we had we had issues before because you guys were doing too good. You had upwards of 50 plus people here. And then what happened? March of last year, we had the issues with COVID. The state of Connecticut said spacing issues, wearing the mask issues. So for a little while, we didn't have the Coffeehouse. What we wanted to do was still keep active people coming for Coffeehouse. So I offered up the town hall, much more space out there, and that's why we were able to continue on, and now we're back over here. Looks like you're growing again, Ted. Looks like the numbers are getting good. So, here's what I want to say to you. I know that it's a little warm over there. Anybody can attest to that who's been into that building. It's a little warm. That's being polite. So, we had some little leftover monies because of COVID last year. COVID monies came into the town of Plainfield. We didn't have a lot of recreation going on, so we saved money there. We didn't have people going to their doctors. You wouldn't go to the doctor because you'd call them up for an appointment and they would say to you what? Oh, I can see you in 3 months.
Yeah.
So through insurance, we did save a lot of money that way. We utilized those monies at the end of the year for one-time purchases. We did line item transfers to cover them. We made sure that we got things like, something that had been outstanding since like 14 years ago, was the HVAC system that's needed in the town clerk's office. Matter of fact, they're coming in this Friday. I volunteered to be there to make sure that they have an open access over there so they can do the work. They're going to be there and start to do the work on the HVAC system in the vault. Then as soon as they're done with that, they're going to go over to the auditorium and they're going to put HVAC over there so it'll have some air conditioning. So within a month we should be okay.
8 units in there.
Yeah, it's a lot. But it's that type of stuff that's happening. In our budget, by the way, in the budget that was passed this current year, is also the continuation of the HVAC into the other side of the office area. So the entire building will be all now HVAC. And, believe it or not, we talked about this at our town meeting, we talked about this at our department head meeting the other day. Wouldn't it be nice to have a little bit of decoration around the town hall for the holidays? But we thought, well, okay, we're gonna make a little committee and we'll go out there and put up some decorations, some lights. Only to find out there's no plugs outside. So around the building itself, there's no plugs. So we're going to use a little bit of the money that is in the LoSiP money and put some of that into that lighting for the outside. So maybe one day soon, you can see some holiday decorations and lights trimmed around the town hall.
Nice.
Bulletin board out there, when we did the parade in Moosup, they saw the sign Veterans Coffeehouse. I heard the guy say, I never heard of that before. Some kind of a sign you can put out there, Veterans Coffeehouse, what services are available, you know. Because as you can see, the crowd's getting bigger and bigger here. But we're still trying to get more veterans. There's more people still sitting on the couch since COVID.
Right.
And the wives ready to kick their ass out the door, so. You know, if something out front, if not a bulletin board, then a banner that says what date and what time, you know, so that people going by know what you got.
That's a great suggestion. We have a bulletin board that is actually in Moosup. It's over in front of Cumbie's. So the problem with that particular bulletin board is you put something up there and the weather gets to it very quickly. So maybe if we can reconfigure it so that it has glass on both sides of it and utilize it better.
Just so you know, Jack,
Sir.
I'm going to be working on a bulletin board for down. There is one.
Okay.
It's behind the big heart I made. It's so bad.
Yeah, right at the town hall.
I'm going to make a new one for there.
Yep. Oh, by the way, for advertising and telling people, you know, what's happening, what's going on, anybody here drive by the Warregan Firehouse? You see the sign that's there, right?
Yep.
We asked them if they wouldn't mind when events occur for the town, if they would put the banners on there for that, so information gets out. Same thing over at the Moosup Firehouse, information can get out that way. We had in the budget last year to put up a similar signage in front of the police station. That is the central location for the town of Plainfield. It's on Route 12, you drive by it all the time. So that's where I'd love to have a lighting system up there as well. I budgeted for about $9,000, and after looking at it, it was more like $20,000. So we'll get there. It's just a matter of making sure that when we put something in the budget, we have all the detail behind it. And that gives more information. So bulletin boards, electronic bulletin boards, things like that would be very helpful to the public. We thought of every single way you can think of to get information to the public. And we do put out there on the town Facebook page and the town website. The calendar should show everything that we're doing, including the coffee house. You're right, we are growing. Look, I mean, Ted, you've done a great job. They're all coming back. And I know there's more people. We met people at some veterans at during the parade. And we talked to them and said, why don't you go to the coffee house? Oh, I didn't know you had one.
Yeah.
So the word needs to get out, obviously, if we're going to that level of informing people during the parade. So there's lots of things happening in town. If you ever have a question about, hey, Kevin, I heard this, I got one for you. Hey, Kevin, I heard in the top of 14A that they're looking to put a warehouse in there. Yes, they are.
No?
So what happened was the top of 14A, that's where Plainfield Materials is, but on the very top where it flattens out, they've been leveling that whole area. The company just bought it. They're looking to put a 1.25 million square foot warehouse. More jobs, more tax revenue. And as a warehouse, delivery right onto the highway. There's another company that came to us the other day and asked us, where can we put a 400,000 square foot warehouse?
Does the town help the fire districts pay for those electronic signs they have out there?
Nope.
Central Village needs a lot of help. You've got some monies coming in there.
Yeah, well, there's that little separation in between the firehouses and the town.
Uh-oh.
But we can help them explain, here's the companies that make those signage. I even, by the way, there is an ordinance that said, or not an ordinance, but there's zoning regulations. The zoning regulation says you're not supposed to have electronic signs. Now, if you drive through town of Plainfield, you're going to probably find 1, 2, 3, 4 that I know of. 5. There's 5. You know where the Baker's Dozen right in Central Village, there's the, used to be the Knight's Inn, I think they've changed it over to an Econo Lodge now. There's a small lit sign right there. Yep, that's 1. High school, 2. Central School with the Memorial School, 3. The firehouse is over at Oregon and the firehouse in Moosa. Those are the 5. Those need to be done via a approval either through planning and zoning. Usually, so far they've all gone through Zoning Board of Appeals. And what I've done is for the ones at the firehouses, I have asked to waive the fees. So there's usually a $600 fee. We asked to waive them. So Central Village next. It's okay. I'll ask to waive the fee.
We just need about a measly 6,500 to.
You're gonna do it.
We got half of it.
Oh, okay. You should have been at the Celebrate Plainfield Day with a booth looking for donations.
He's golfing. Yeah. Golfing. Look at that face. Would you want to give him money?
Behave over there.
So we're trying to be very progressive, work with you. Any questions and that pertain to anything else going on in town?
The carbon footprint for Amazon, what is their goal on that? Where are the trucks going to be? Delivery trucks, are they going to be electric or are they going to be gas?
They, as Amazon, by the way, a great question, because Amazon tries to pride itself on being carbon free. The ones, though, that they're working with for vehicles right now are coming out of Morgan truck. So they're going to be normal, but the ones internal are probably going to all be gas. So their vehicles on site that they use for maintenance will probably be the electric ones.
Hey, the guy told us at the groundbreaking that they are putting the EV
That's what I was wondering.
things in.
Yeah,
I've seen
right
how
away.
delivery, I've seen how delivery trucks, they're supposed to be plug-ins.
I think he
So-
said by 24, 25, they want all of
Yeah.
them to be electric. I think that's what he said.
Yeah.
that's the one really, really good thing about their company is that they're trying very hard to let people know that that's their goal. So I don't know about the 18-wheelers, but definitely they're if you know where Morgan Truck is over on the end of Moosa Pond Road. We talked about that briefly back there. That used to be the Old American. So they've broken up that building into 3 pieces, and one's a Walgreens warehouse in the middle, one is Staples, and the other one on the far end is Morgan Truck. If you take a look across the street, you see all of their work. So if you ever get a company that says, look, I need 3 refrigerator trucks and 3 flatbeds, they put the specs into the building and they sit there and they work on it and get it for you right away. So they've been contracted with Amazon. So they've been working with Amazon for a while. Sir?
Yeah, the Norwich Bulletin had an article today about a variety of expenditures. And I think it was the last paragraph said something about Coffeehouse.
Yep. You don't have a problem with that, do you?
I just wondered what we were gonna do.
We'll be discussing that further.
Thank you.
So for the people who read the article in today's paper,
Everybody read it.
excellent. America Recovery, America Cares Act, it helps out the town. Every town gets a little different monies. We got $4.476 million. And it tells you very carefully, here's the areas you can spend it in, and how you can allocate it. A majority of what we have in the town of Plainfield for infrastructure needs is very simple. We have a water pollution control authority, which is sewer, which needs upgrades. It hasn't been upgraded in a majority of it for many years. So I sat down and worked out something. I asked input from the selectmen, I asked input from our finance director. We worked out something where a majority of the money is going to go for the infrastructure upgrades for the sewer department. The rest of it we're looking to do for what we used to have in the town of Plainfield, which is revolving loan fund for businesses who had issues with COVID or trying to do startups, but couldn't do startups because of COVID. We looked at a
How does that work?
Yep. Well, basically,
Is that interest-free or
it's low interest.
low interest?
Yep, what we've done in the past, sound very similar to what we had in the past for Economic Development Commission. And what we're doing is Jordan Lumpkins is putting together the paperwork, he's done a great job. He's asked state officials, he's worked with other towns, trying to put the information together for the application. We'll be using our Economic Development Commission the way they were meant to use it years ago, and they were. What they did was, if you wanted to start up a business for t-shirt printing, and you have a business plan, and you have some capital and some way to leverage your home for its backup and support in case you had a problem, you would then put your plan together in front of the Economic Development Commission with the application. On the Economic Development Commission is an attorney, a real estate person, and a banker, and a few other people as well. What they will be doing is going through the applications and interviewing that company to make sure that A, they have all their ducks in a row with their business plan, that they have the support capital, and they're creating jobs. And so they would then apply for and get a loan, small interest, and you would be paying monthly back to the town of Plainfield with a lien on your business or property. And that's it. And basically we're trying to encourage people to be doing small business and rotating it back into the town. That's what we're trying to do, is continue those small businesses. By the way, does anybody, you know the small businesses that have come into town recently? Is anybody pro or con? I know usually everybody says everything about food places that come into town. We had Joey's Seafood and More come in. The only negative I've heard of Joey's is they run out of food.
They're doing well.
Yeah, they don't do well if they run out of food. They go down to Stonington and get it fresh, and when they do, they sell it right out. People are lined up forever, so they try to get more from Stonington if it's available. So their orders have been continuing to increase, their days are now increased as well. So they've been doing very well. There's other places as well. We've had, Bubbles Laundromat moved over from where it was in Moosup now over to Central Village. You've got different companies that have moved. We do ribbon cuttings for any new business that comes into town.
This big Hope Lodge.
Oh, yes. Anybody here remember the old VFW hall in Moosup? Driven by it lately?
Yeah, it's
Banquet facility.
Inside is even better. And what they've done is they're business smart. They thought about this. They can't do it all. So they subcontracted out different people to help them out with decorations. So if you're going to have a wedding there, certain decorations, they can help you with that. You have certain people you want to have for the food, they can help you with that. They got 3 or 4 people that'll help out with that. Bakery from Brooklyn, Sugars. They have them doing some of their desserts and pastries and cakes. They thought it through. They didn't have, the bar is not open. If you wanted to have alcohol at the event, you'd have to go through the same process as you would for any event. Go through the police, make sure you have enough staff there. The only thing tight with them is parking, but they think they've got that covered. There's a lot of opportunity in Plainfield. There's a lot of things that are happening. And we really appreciate the fact that we have companies coming in that are giving us that tax revenue and the jobs. But it's not just about that, it's about everything else that goes on in town. Getting transportation was big. It does help out tremendously, getting the jobs to come in. I'm always available to answer questions. If you want to go on email and take a look and send me an email about something, that's fine. If you want to come in and visit, you want to call.
Is there any plans to raise the veterans tax exemption? Is that done by the town, the state, or the federal? How does that work?
Actually, there's some legislation on that coming up. So I'm going to talk to Ann and Brian about that.
Legislation where? State or federal?
State. There's also...
That's a state program?
Yes.
Oh.
Yep. There's also something, well, there is federal, but that'll take forever to get through. Yeah, the state one, there's also another one in the state which talks about the property taxes exemption for the, for a certain age limit. It was 70, but municipalities can actually vote to make it 65. So we're gonna look into that one as well.
55?
65. So it was 70 years of age, you can get a certain percentage of tax exemption based on the age. Now we're looking to, the state of Connecticut says each municipality can vote on it down to the age of 65 instead, if they wanted to.
Did any of you guys participate in that? Does everybody know you can go to the town hall and maybe get a tax exemption?
You gotta do it between February and May.
Well, just go to the town hall, I'll tell you what, when to do it, how to do it. Assessor's office, very, very, very good people to work with down there.
I can answer part of
Go
that
ahead, Joy, what do you
question.
got?
Well, isn't that wage or earnings related though?
Your income.
There is a portion of that application which does say that.
Yeah.
But you can always ask the assessor, she can help you out with that.
But there is one part of it, it's strictly veterans, isn't it?
I think there's a checkbox in there for that too.
I get it. You get it based on your age. If you're not the proper age, they'll give you a certain percentage. But here again, go down there, they're very, very good, good people to talk to.
Bring a copy of your discharge too.
Hey, Ted, for veterans, they give $1,500 off of your assessment. That's what it is. It's $1,500 off the assessment of your personal property.
I thought it was a percentage.
It comes, no, it's $1,500 and it comes out to about $40, $40 something like that.
I think there was another question here, no?
Chuck did.
Yeah, where were we now? To get the exemption, all you have to do is show your 214, and that's a rubber stamp.
Yeah, what I say, if you go to the town hall, trust me, anywhere in the town hall, that office, they'll hold your hand and help you do it right there if you have to.
Of course.
But back to, I'm not sure I got my question answered. What's the process to increase that? That's been like that for the last 30 years.
I'll take a look at that. I mean, there is some legislation which is being proposed to make some other changes in there, but I'll look at what they have current. I'll let you know.
So in reflection of that, now that's, when you're talking about that age limit thing, that's different than the.
That's for property taxes. Yeah.
Well, I've been getting a property tax $1,500 since I got out of service, I guess, but is this age thing a separate?
It's separate, so if you, not to be, it includes everybody, inclusive of the veterans, so it's everybody.
So I could go down and apply for that as well, besides what
Well,
I'm getting?
we'll have to talk about that because it's actually municipalities are allowed to vote from age 70 down to 65.
Well,
No one here is 70, right?
I got 70. We guys have the age limit.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Kevin, I think what he's asking is, can you take both exemptions?
I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah, I don't think you can, but because I only get the one.
Okay.
And I think I talked
I
about
think
that.
it's easy here because we're talking about veterans in the room, but I mean, I think that what they're talking about is anybody in the state.
You gotta turn in your tax thing and then you go from there.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
check your
he wanted to
income.
know if you could get an
Well,
exemption
you can if
for
you-
being a
if you
veteran
prove-
and being,
You can if you can
Over
prove
70.
that you're alive, available for that deduction,
you can take both.
yes.
You know that for
Yeah.
certain. There you go.
But you have to go down with your tax papers and show them, and they have to approve that to get it. And it's up to $1,000 a year.
For the over 70.
Yeah, over 70, you get 500 on each January and July. That's right off your taxes, not off your
Right,
assessment.
the vet, oh, off your taxes.
Yeah, it's off your tax
there
what
you
you
go.
pay, yeah.
That's nice.
Have you notified the building, have you been notified about the building next to the old firehouse on L Street? That the wall has collapsed off of it?
Trying to think where,
That little yellow building where Monaco used to have a long time ago. Right next to the old firehouse with the
That's behind the
village
Legion, right?
auto body.
Oh, yeah, it's at the end of that road, but.
Behind the Legion.
oh, behind the, okay.
Yeah.
The wall has collapsed right
Walls
off.
collapsed, I'll take the building inspector to take a look at that. We have a few buildings in town which have, roofs have collapsed. Remember the Sportsman's? That's collapsed down into the basement. So that has asbestos in it, we have to work with the property owner to make sure that it gets out properly.
Oh, that big house on the corner.
That's been abandoned, and we're working now to see what we can do to work to take that one down, again, with asbestos. You can't name anything nowadays that's that old that doesn't have asbestos in it,
Oh,
so.
that was a big deal, yeah.
Yeah.
Super job on the tank.
Lead paint.
Great point. Tanks, if anybody is interested, we had some issues with the tank that is over in Plainfield. And the issues are not major, they're minor. But if you look at it aesthetically, you'll see that on the big back wheel of the tank, on the bottom, it had rusted out. There were two huge areas that are totally rusted out. So the Brotherhood of Tankers said, look, do you have anybody who can do any welding? And they can make a little template, weld in the plates, and paint over. And I said, well, I think I got a guy at the highway department that knows how to do welding. Take a look today, they're out there right now. So that should be completed. The only other thing I have to do on that tank down there is one thing. You take a look at the treads on that tank, they're all ripped up. Well, I'm gonna see if I can find a material that I'll actually be able to score what we have right now, cement them down over the top, and they'll look like they're brand new. And that'll take a little while to find that, but once we find it, it'll be very quick to go in. So those are, actually I think those are two of the proudest things I have in town that we've done. Because those tanks, that one over there looks beautiful, so does the other one over here in Moosup. And the park in Moosup, totally different.
Excellent job.
So, there's only one little thing I gotta fix over in the Moosup one, and that's the curb cut. Working with the state of Connecticut, I want to make it so we can cut that little curbing right there for that little driveway. And now for any event or any maintenance that we do, we can actually drive a vehicle up on top of there, put a chain link behind it, and be safe and get in there and do our work we have to do. Or for like the parade, we can have 3 or 4 vehicles lined up in there very easily instead of having worry about their tires being, cut because they're going over that curbing. But yeah, those came out very nice. Very nice. We have to thank the Brotherhood of Tankers for all the work that they did and support the local businesses that came out and helped out, and of course the Veterans Coffeehouse for their support for that project as well. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely, you guys gave a good amount of money, they were very happy.
Absolutely.
I went down there and talked to those guys personally. They said they never had such a good reception as this town, and specifically the Coffeehouse. We were over there helping them out, and the town was cooperating 100%, it went great.
So we're very, very, again, the good and the bad about COVID, we had some money left over, we can actually do those projects. And we're very, very lucky to have that done because we couldn't figure out how much money and effort and support we had to do to put into those, but it worked out excellent this year to have them completed. So again, thank you very much for your support for that project. And unless there's any other questions, don't forget the recreation center is open now, the pool's open, you can use everything that we had before. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin, I really appreciate your coming. Outstanding job.
Go ahead, Ted, say it again.
We had at least a dozen guys either walking or riding in the parade. And at one point, well, let's see, 2 or 3 different points, I couldn't believe what was happening. We actually got physical standing round of applause from people on the sidelines.
Nice.
So after the parade, I met somebody and I said, hey, what the hell is that all about? Jesus, then I got very emotional. This lady said,
Yeah, and you wanted to ride.
you know, we love you veterans. What? We love you veterans. She was so pleased that we were there,
Tony, you were a part of it, you saw some of what was going on.
The response was great.
Anyway, Dave Cadet promised me he's gonna at least double the amount of participation next year. I think that's gonna be very easy to do. We'll get at least 20, 25 guys next year. It's a very easy walk. You go slow and no big deal. I wish I could remember the name of the girl that gave me the sneakers. All I could think of her name is Diane. And she has some affiliation with the Danielson Elks. These are size 11 and one size 12 pair of sneakers. Anybody wants them, just come up and grab a pair. Oh yeah, sure, Rudy. You don't fool around, he comes grab the money right away. Hey, Rudy, you forgot a quarter. Don't leave any.
Oh.
No, for Ted.
Don't leave any for Ted.
He might need that money for golf lessons. Goofy lessons, I'm sorry.
We're just thinking of your health. You need to walk.
You come to the golf course with me and I'll show you what to do with a golf course. I want you there.
You wrap it around a tree.
You know what ball I'll hit. I know. Can't talk like that anymore, right?
We'll film it, that's for everybody to see.
4.
Then we call him Shanky for no reason.
Okay. Fran has taken names for t-shirts.
I have already taken names.
Where you been?
That's done.
Been out playing golf again?
Hey, what the hell is this?
You were getting your cookies.
Whose show is this? Oh, okay. Has everybody that wants a t-shirt signed up?
Even those that don't want one signed.
Even those that don't want one because they're free. No charge for these t-shirts. These are $25 t-shirts and we're giving them away free. Not quite that much, huh?
No, I don't think so.
Seriously, anybody